Hi, everyone. Teresa Aker here, and you're watching Success Diaries. It's my privilege today to bring you Bill Pautler. How you doing, Bill?
Fine, Teresa.
Good. I'm glad that you're here today. Bill has quite a backstory, and I wanted to talk to him. He came on our show. You've written a book, Bill, so we want to talk about that. We want to talk about your journey. You talked to me about your spiritual background, all of that, and the many things you've overcome. And Success Diaries is about overcoming adversity and coming out the other side victorious. So let's go back and let's talk about your story.
Okay. My primary thing that I'm doing now is building my brand. And because I've been on a spiritual journey ever since I was a young child. But then when I was about 40-ish, give or take, I had an out of the box spiritual experience. And then I've had a number of spiritual experiences since then. And I've read over 1,000 spiritual books, and I've been to wisdom school. I've been to Nine Gates Mystery School. When I got to the end of all this, I just realized that this spirituality stuff is not nearly as hard as everybody makes it out to be. And so I wrote a book that's has stories about the different things that have happened to me, but also most of it's just practical spirituality advice and the things that I've done to awaken and acknowledge the spirit within me. And I just want everybody to wake up to the power of their own spirit.
Very interesting. So when you say wake up to the power of their own spirit, so that's
Mhm.
inside, they're going inside and their consciousness and feeling their, I guess, their own answers. A lot of people do meditation, do mindfulness. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yes and no. We come from God consciousness.
Okay.
Okay. So we're like a little drop, or maybe a great big drop of God consciousness. And we're taking the form of a human body for a lifetime in this earth. Okay. And we come into the world as little babies, right? And when you look at a baby, like the first reaction most people have is, "Oh," because babies come in pure. Okay. But then we have these traumas and we have false beliefs that are heaped on us. And because they're by people that love us and take care of us, and whether it's our teachers, our parents, our friends, our families, we just assume that all these things are true and real. And but most
Bill,
of what we believe, go ahead.
no, Bill, I wanted to ask you there because I just wanted to circle back a bit. So, I know you said that we come in with consciousness and then we're born. Where did you learn that? What is your background on that to be able to say that? Have you got an extensive background on consciousness? What happened?
That's a good question. I guess that in and of itself is my belief system,
Oh, okay.
but I grew up I grew up Catholic. I tore that whole thing down because I started questioning a lot of things that I've been taught. And then I've spent 40 years of my life studying, reading, meditating, writing, and at some point in time, you get to the point where things either resonate with you or they don't.
Okay.
And that resonates with me because when you look at somebody, I've seen a number of people pass away. They're there one minute and then they're not there the next minute. Something was animating, something animates our body. Okay. And I call that spirit. And I believe that God is life, is consciousness. Does that make sense?
Sure, and that's your belief, and that I understand that. I just wanted to
Yeah.
get together of how, because people, I think, look for answers, and you've given a little bit of a segue in there about how we entered the world. So I've just wanted to know that. And so continue on with your story because you have a good background. So let's continue there.
Yeah, sure. And so we come into the world as these babies, we get lacquered with all these false beliefs, and we conform ourselves to the world because the world's really prevalent. But what we forget, what we don't remember, is we don't remember that we're animated by the Spirit of God. Okay. And I don't think of God as a king on a throne, really just think of God as consciousness. Anything that has life is filled with God. But we start chasing success and love and marriage and ego and titles and all these things. And we don't look to ourselves anymore for our wisdom and knowledge. But if you believe that we're animated by the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God, if you believe the Spirit of God is loving and wise, then all that love, wisdom, peace, joy resides inside of us. And when we learn how to access that and quit chasing after the things in the world, then we get peaceful and we get joyful and we can basically stay in this very beautiful, happy place all the time. Maybe not happy place, joyful place.
Okay, let's talk about your book. Show your book for a minute.
Okay. Called,
Awakening to Ourselves.
yep.
Okay, and the bottom,
Practical art of building a spiritually aware life.
okay, and that's what you do. You teach people how to have a spiritual life?
Yeah, everybody, I think that everybody's spiritual because we're all animated by the Spirit of God. The word soul comes from the Latin word anime, which means to animate. So when we talk about a soul, we're talking about God's animation of our spirit. Yes, that's what I help people do. Just realize that you're filled with the Spirit of God. And once you realize that, this is just a place to play and to learn and to learn how to love and to learn the depths of God and to co-create into the universe with God.
Okay, so you said that you had overcome adversity. We've had a lot of challenges in life. We've had COVID, we've had 911, we've had a lot of things happen, and we definitely have had people have lost jobs and so forth. So, what do you do when you're going through some adversity, some trauma, and so forth, and it doesn't seem to be as kind, or if I might add, if we're making our reality, why are those things happening?
One of the reasons we come in to this realm is because it's a dense realm. It's very heavy. We're dependent on each other. Food's not free. Nothing's free. It's hard. Okay. But anytime you come up with adversity, that adversity is like sandpaper. Okay. If you're going to make a piece of metal shine or a gem shine, you start off with a dense sandpaper, okay? And you grind it. And then you get to a finer sandpaper and then another finer sandpaper until the scratches in the gem or in the metal are so close together that it becomes a mirror, right? And that all our adversity in this world is to help us refine and master our spirits.
So you think that what we see is for lessons we want to learn? Is that sort of what your thought is there?
Say that to me again.
So what the adversity that we see or the life
That we
around us, that
experience. Yeah.
is that reflecting back what we need to learn or what we're giving off?
It's a little bit of both, actually.
Oh,
It's definitely what we need to learn because think about this. You're driving down the road, somebody pulls over in front of you real close, right? And you can either go, ah, you dirty scumbag, okay? Or you can go, I'm in control of my own peace. That person, for whatever reason, did what they did. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, but I can either choose to let that disturb my peace, or I can choose to just bless that person. And that, you don't, the first time that happens, typically we're going to get angry, right? But over time, as you learn to master your spirit and you're in charge of your own peace. If a fly flies in front of you, okay, usually we'll bat it, we'll react, okay? But when you learn how to master your spirit, instead of reacting, something happens to you, and then you choose how you want to act instead of reacting, okay? But all this is built on understanding that we are wise, loving, perfect from the time we come in here. And even if we do things that society says is wrong, even hurting somebody, okay, we're still perfect on the inside. Our actions are bad. And sometimes we have to discipline people and put people in jail and all type of stuff. That's part of the world and should be part of the world. But over time, if you look at every, I've got a chapter on pain, and every time you have any type of mental pain, you have to look inside yourself for the trigger, okay? Because people can say all type of stuff, and why should you let anything trigger you? When you get solid inside yourself, then you just become peaceful and joyful. And you talk about success stories. I've had two divorces. I've got six kids. I've had multiple businesses. I've had multiple businesses basically fail. And I have one that actually was very successful, but it was filled with a lot of angst. I was low on cash many times, uh, to the point where I didn't know whether I could make payroll type of stuff. And I
And what
just
did you
took
do at that moment? So now you don't know if you can make payroll, you don't know if you can make the ends meet. What do you do? So you're not in a positive place there. What do you do at that moment?
you just do everything that you can do, but you stay inside the present moment because the, if you look at an hourglass starts like this, has a little bitty the thin parts called the waist, and then it flares back out. Okay, all the sand in the top of the hourglass is the future. All the sand in the bottom of the hourglass is the past. But where we live is where that little bit of sand is going through the waist of the hourglass because in the present moment, there's nothing wrong. Okay. If you think about that, if I can't meet payroll and I'm super stressed about it, I can stress about it, or I can just say, right this second, everything's perfect. Nobody's dying, but that doesn't mean that you don't take steps to change your life, right? You still have to take steps, but there's no reason to let your emotions get out of control because at that point in time, when you step into fear, you actually are hurting your ability to get out of the problem that you're in.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. That it's difficult to do it, but there's lots of people that are losing their jobs right now. A lot of people losing their homes, and life doesn't look so rosy. And so that's the whole point that I was making to you is how do we certainly get through that? And I understand what you're saying. Stay in the present at the moment, nothing's happening. But there's a lot of people that there are things happening to them at this moment. They have to go through whatever it is they have to go through. But I would definitely say that having a positive attitude and feeling that it's all going to be okay and that you can make it through this, I think those are good, are good. That's good advice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
I would
let's,
think so.
yeah, so let's talk about your book. So what chapters are in the book that come to mind that you want to share with people that would help them?
Let's see. The one I just talked about is pain. So for me, a practical way to grow in consciousness and in peace is that every time you experience something in the outside world that you're not happy about, take a look inside yourself and see what your triggers are. Okay. You can do that whether you're walking down the street, whether you're sitting on the couch, whether you're at the office, it doesn't matter. But if you start looking at all those things that cause you pain, okay, and then with awareness, deep down, look at what's being triggered. And if you look at them with awareness, they'll just dissolve because most of them are worldly problems that we don't even really have. Okay. I mean, I could tell you, I was away for 3 days at a funeral this last weekend, and I talked to a lot of different people. And, some people were telling me about their problems, but they really don't have problems. They just have a perception that they have problems. When things don't go the way you want them to, if you're sitting there in agony about them, that's not helping the situation. Things are always going to be difficult. Okay. Some things are really easy, but some things are really difficult. And that's just life. I almost died 2 years ago.
Oh
I
my
didn't get
goodness.
upset. Yeah, I didn't get upset about it. I was in intensive care for 9 days, and it was a beautiful experience.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, but a beautiful experience. So while you're going through it, you're thinking good thoughts and that you're going to pull through and you're going to be okay.
Yeah, and it's not so much good thoughts as much as it is all the medical facility that I went into. The people were nice. They solved my problems. Everybody was, not everybody was super kind, but in general, people were very kind. And I don't want to, this feels, see, it's taken me 40 years to develop this, okay? This is not something you just put on
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
If I was to die, then I believe that we're eternal spirits, okay?
Oh, that's
That
interesting. So you think the spirit comes back for again or reincarnated, or is that?
I think most of that is just belief systems. I do have belief systems around that. I don't think it's important, but energy is, we pretty much know energy is never lost. And so if our spirit is a form of energy, okay, that comes from God and God is eternal, we're eternal too. So, like I mean, going through two divorces with 6 kids, and my kids have all, not all of them, but some of them had some pretty serious problems on the way through. And I've had to discipline people and take action and a lot of hard things, just like you do when you're building a company with my children. But I always take an eternal view, and that is, are the actions that I'm taking best for them? And I've got all of eternity to work with my children or any other spirits. Okay. So I just always try to act out of love. And love, see, live spelled backwards is evil. Okay.
I've never
So,
done that.
yeah. So, what love is choosing to give life. Okay. So and so here's another thing, practical spirituality. You look at your pains that you have and you look inside yourself. And then when you're making decisions, you always look at them and go, am I acting in love? Am I bringing life, or am I bringing the antithesis of life, which is death or evil? Okay. And that includes decisions that we make for ourselves. What we eat, do we exercise? Are we loving to ourselves? All those type of things. And so if you start breaking down every decision to, am I bringing life to this situation? Then everything you do is promoting life inside yourself and everybody else.
I like that. That's good advice. That's very good
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
So when you wrote your book, and you've told me that you had a lot of adversity and you overcame it, and you wrote your book, was this to heal yourself, or was it you just wanted to go out and help other people?
The way I think about it, and say, I think that our spirit is connected to, you can call it the Great Spirit, God consciousness, but
Sure.
we're all connected to God consciousness and we're all connected to each other. Ask me the question again because I forgot it.
So when you wrote the book, was it to heal yourself or
Oh,
to heal everybody else?
yes. The way I put it is, Spirit told me to write a book that would make it quicker and easier for other people to recognize the spirit in themselves and to come into their own power. Because there's a lot of religions, there's a lot of yoga and meditation and all these things. And sometimes people don't know where to turn. And so I just put everything that I knew at the time in one book. And it wasn't for my healing, but what it actually did was it forced me to codify my belief systems. And that allowed me to now get on podcast and have a YouTube page
Yeah.
because I've codified, at least at this point in time, I've codified what I would consider a very simplistic path to being spiritual and being peaceful. And I think it's right in front of us. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in the world that draws us away from it.
And I would agree with that because we're distracted by a lot of things between internet and between all the things that are going on. Our telephones are, we have the cell phone now all the time attached to us. So television, computers, everything is very distracting. So it's very hard to get out of the world around you and just stop and take a look inside, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So,
when we're looking inside, we're remembering, we're putting our members back together. Okay. Our
okay.
pieces of our spirit. That's what remembering and all wisdom. And when you start tuning into this, your intuition picks up stuff, right? Our intuitions are very strong. You meet somebody and you get either a really good feel about them or you get a bad feel about them, or you're headed to the grocery store and all of a sudden Spirit says, take a right here. And by taking that right there, you end up running into somebody that you didn't plan to run into, and it was either for their benefit, your benefit, or the benefit of both people. Usually, the benefit of both people.
Yeah. Yeah. We've all had that happen. Or you think of someone and they call you, right? Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's that part of us all being connected
Yeah.
all the time. My kids call it quinkydinks.
They call it what?
Coinkydinks?
Coinky dinks. Oh yes, coinky dinks. Okay, got it. Got it. And are you now you're close with your family?
Yes, I
Good.
am.
So you
Yeah,
teach them all of this? They've learned from dad?
I live my life as an example, and I teach wherever somebody's willing to hear. My I also raised my kids Catholic, and then later on I tore my whole Catholic belief system down. And I still love lots of parts of the Catholic Church, but there's beauty in all the religions, and there's truth in all the religions. Sometimes you have to sift through it a little bit. But I would say that all my children are were all spiritual, but they are some of them are more aware than others. But we all grow in consciousness every day. Okay. And when I was 20 or 30, I was just an infant in this whole spiritual thing. So we learn as we go along. But I think our actions and our words and our behaviors toward people are the biggest teachers of all. Because you talked about a little bit like, do things happen to us for reasons and stuff like that? There is there is this thing as you clean yourself up and start paying attention to your spirit that it will allow you to flow through the world and put you where you need to be in a natural way. And so, what you believe, it does come to you. Okay. And that's what manifestation is. Manifestation is aligning with the purpose that you came here. We all have individual gifts when we come into the world. Okay. And when you stay tuned into those gifts, that is your gift to the world. And so when we mistreat somebody, we're not honoring their gifts, and therefore they can't give all of their gift into the world. So everything that we do that is not life-giving, whether it's a bad government mistakes, religions that keep us in fear and thinking that there's some type of judgment when we leave this planet. There is no judgment when we leave this planet. That all just perpetuates a lack of love for ourselves. So it's our only responsibility, per se, in this world is really to learn how to love ourselves. And the two things that I would tell anybody, you have to have a certain amount of quiet time because you have to be able to hear what's inside of you.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And then you have to quit judging yourself because we're pretty harsh on ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we have to forgive ourselves because all is forgiven before we ever come into this world. And when you can forgive yourself and you can quit judging yourself, then all this falsity and these masks that we wear start to fall off, and the natural love that is already inside of us, which is Aladdin and the genie. We're these great big spirits, but we're in these little bitty bodies right now.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so once you quit conforming to the world and take your masks off and look at the things that are irritating you, these pains, and look at the false beliefs that allow you to be triggered, and all that starts to come off, then the natural flow of your love just comes out. And that's it. It's that simple.
It's that simple. I like that. I like that. Now we're facing the holidays. We're coming into the holidays now, and people
Right.
get closer to their families and so forth. What nice suggestions or tips do you have for people going through the holidays? Some may be going through hard times, some may be having great times. Some are getting together with family that they're used to. Some families aren't as cooperative. What advice do you have?
First off, our natural tendency, if we're going back into maybe our parents' house or things like that, our natural tendency is to pick up our old roles. And so you have to pay attention not to pick up your old roles. And the other thing I think that's important is to realize that at any given point in time, from a person's perspective, they're doing the best that they know how.
That's very good. Yes.
Okay. And I remember a time in my life when we were at the beach and one of my daughters, my sister, and one of the in laws were doing yoga on the beach. And that was way before I understood what yoga was. And I was throwing sand at them while they were doing yoga on the beach. And they were getting irritated at me, and I thought it was funny. Now I look at that and see how unpolite that was and how really stupid I was at that time. So we've all been in that place where we were not nearly as aware as we should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so when we see other people that are not aware, if we can maintain our own personal peace, okay, and allow them to live however at their level of consciousness at that given moment from their perspective and at that time, then that's what God does for us. He allows. And so that's what
Yeah.
we have to do is allow.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, and how we act radiates and helps other people react back the same way.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I agree with that. When we assemble together, we have to come forward with some compassion and empathy and be the best we can be. And even if someone's not on the same page, they might change because you've allowed them to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. You give them the space
Yeah.
to be who they are.
Yeah, but I think I think people who disrupt, I think they're lonely inside and they need the attention. And when you just are compassionate and loving, they actually come back to their, as you call it, their self.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, when we do that, we're helping them heal their own wounds.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's really profound. Very well said. Very well said. So can
Yeah,
you show your book again?
sure.
So awakening to ourselves. And so they can get this on Amazon, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll make sure that's on there. Now, you mentioned you have a YouTube channel. What's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's called Sage Life with Bill.
Sage Life with Bill. I'll make sure that all of this is in the show notes, Bill.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So they can now with that, it's on YouTube. Do you do a course?
I don't have any courses
Oh, okay. I
right
didn't know if you
now.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't. I'm just building my YouTube page, and they can also, my book is called Awakening to Ourselves. My website's Awakening to Ourselves. I write a weekly story. It's about 6 to 10 minutes long. They take me like a full day usually, and I write about the practicality of life, things that happen to me, how I look at things, and they can get that in their inbox every week if they like, and it's free.
Oh, perfect. I'll make sure also you'll make sure I get all of that in the show notes and then we can send that off, Bill.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today, Bill. I really appreciate that. That's really good. You've got a real insight and you're this kind person, this kind soul about you.
yeah.
Well,
I like to end a lot of my shows with this. You've probably heard the word namaste.
yes.
And a lot of people have heard that word, but a lot of people don't know what it actually means. And the word namaste is a Sanskrit word, and it means the divine in me honors the divine in you.
Oh, okay.
So I would say, Teresa, namaste to you and namaste to all our listeners.
Thank you. Namaste back to you. That's wonderful. And we're going into the holidays. I wish you only a beautiful holiday time and wherever you celebrate and whoever you celebrate it with, I wish you only nice blessings and a nice holiday, Bill.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't use the word holiday anymore. I use the word holy days. So
Holy.
I wish people holy days because holy is wholeness. They're the same word. So when you become whole and loving in yourself,
Yeah.
okay, anything that's whole is perfect. So that's what holy means. So holy days to everybody.
Very nice. Thank you, Bill. That's very nice. So we'll leave that on that note. Everyone, you've been watching Bill Pautler. He's got a wonderful book out. You're going to be able to order that. I'll make sure it's all in the show notes for you. We truly appreciate your time today, Bill. And if anyone wants to get a hold of you, I'll make sure that they have a place that they could do that. Okay.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. And to everyone else, this is Teresa Aker. You're watching Success Diaries. I do hope you're having a great day. Do subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate that. Go over and subscribe to Bill's channel on YouTube and make sure that's here for you to do that. Just helps the content and helps us keep going. Thank you again. Have a great day. And I look forward to talking to you all very soon. Bye-bye now.